Hello, well, thank you very much for that. I hope I'm dressed for success. Well, you can't see me, but I am. Our next speaker is Miss Carol Talbot, who will be speaking to us also about how successful people think from a mind perspective. Now, Miss Carol Talbot is an NLP expert, master trainer, and professional speaker. Carol has a personal passion to help people help themselves. She seeks to empower people and to work with them to help them create and enhance their energy within so that they get fired up to take action. Please put your hands together for Miss Carol Talbot.
Good morning. Of course, I'm a bit nervous now with Sarah just talking about dress code and if I meet the criteria kind of thing. I hope so. So look, before I start, here's a question and you all have an answer. How are things going in business right now? And how are things going in your life right now? So how would you say business and life is going for you right now?
Good.
So we got one good.
Perfect.
One perfect.
Fourth quarter looks good.
Okay, the fourth quarter looks good. You know, when I ask that question in groups, I get some people who say, it's absolutely brilliant, it's amazing. And then on the other end of the scale, I get people who say, oh, you know, we're in a down economy, or it's been a long summer kind of thing. But just for a moment, consider what's the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people. And it seems that successful people do things differently inside their head. So if I could show you whether what you're doing inside your head is moving you forward to what you want or moving in the wrong direction, would that be useful? Would there be value in that for you? So let's start at the beginning, because some of you may be surprised to know that we actually do 6 things inside our head at any given time. 6 things. So we see pictures, we hear sounds, we have feelings, we smell smells, we taste tastes, and here's the important one. We talk to ourselves inside our head. So if any of you right now are inside your head going, do I talk to myself? You do. You talk to yourself inside your head. The question is, what are you saying to yourself? Again, is it helping you or is it sending you in the wrong direction? Because here's the thing. Whatever you do inside your head affects the results that you get on the outside. So Sarah was speaking about, you know, your outward appearance and how that also makes you feel. However, it also works that what you choose to do inside your head with your thoughts also has a big impact on the results you get on the outside world. Now, how does that work? Well, as you can probably tell from my accent, I'm English, and I've actually lived in this part of the world for, I think it's about 25, 26 years now. My, how time flies. So, one of the reasons that I love being in this part of the world is I love the warmer weather. I'm not a fan of cold weather. Maybe it does get a little hot and humid here in June, July, August, but now it's just going into that perfect time of year. And that means that I very, very rarely go back to the UK in the winter months. But a couple of years ago, I had gone back, and it was winter, and it was freezing cold, and I was cold. So I was bundled up in a scarf, a hat, jacket, jumper, gloves, boots, you name it, I was wearing it, and I was still cold. And I was shopping in a particularly delightful part of London. Ladies, you may be familiar with Covent Garden. So I was shopping in a particularly delightful part of London called Covent Garden, dashing in and out of the stores, doing my best to keep warm and shop at the same time. And what caught my eye? On one of the street corners, there was a homeless man. And he was wearing a big, heavy jacket. But what I noticed was his feet were bare. He had open-toed sandals on. And I remember saying to myself, he must be freezing. I'm going to do something about that. So I rushed into the nearest store and I bought the thickest, fluffiest, woolliest socks that I could possibly buy with the intention of giving them to the homeless man. Well, as it turned out, that was the easy part. Because there I was with these fluffy, woolly socks, and every time I walked up to the homeless man.
Can you please use this as a bit of a disturbance?
Okay. All right, it's going to be challenging for me because, as you can see, I like to talk with my hands. So I will do my best. Also, could you ask them to put the slide up? There was only one. I saw what had happened to Stefan, and I decided not to have many slides. I only had one, and there we go. All right, so there I was with these fluffy woolly socks, and I went towards this homeless man with these socks, and I just couldn't do it. I had this image inside my head of him attacking me, being rude and abusive. And then I had this voice inside my head. I like to call it the oh no voice. And it said something along the lines of, "Are you crazy, Carol? Are you nuts?" And I couldn't do it. I couldn't give him those socks. Now, has anything like that ever happened to any of you before? Where you're really going for it, you're feeling good, and then you hear that voice inside your head. Has that ever happened to you? Yeah? Maybe you've been going to an important meeting. You're prepared for your meeting, you're feeling good about your meeting, you've put on the right clothes for that meeting, you're having a good hair day. And as you walk towards that meeting, you hear that little voice inside your head, and it says something along the lines of, I hope I don't mess this up. Guess what? You mess it up. Or have any of you been about to do a really important presentation? Prepared, rehearsed, feeling confident, feeling good. And just as you're about to walk out, there's that little oh no voice. And this time it says, hope I don't forget what I've got to say. You walk out full of confidence and your mind goes a complete blank. Has that ever happened to you or something like it? Now, would you like to know why that happens to you? You need to listen to this carefully because here's the thing. You can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. So think about that. Shall I say that again? You can't think about what you don't want to think about without thinking about it. In other words, we cannot process negatives. So if I say to you right now, whatever you do, don't think of a blue camel. First thing that pops into your mind? And I told you not to think of that. Now the challenge here is we actually have more reference points for what we don't want rather than what we do want. So maybe in the morning you tell your partner, "Hey honey, don't forget your briefcase." The message they get is, "Forget the briefcase." Or perhaps you say to your friend, "Don't slam the door." The message they get is, "Slam the door." So what can you do? Here's the thing. Say it the way that you want it. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. So if you don't want your partner to forget their briefcase, what do you want instead? Remember your briefcase. If you don't want your friend to slam the door, what do you want instead? Could you close the door quietly? So your first key to successful thinking this morning is very simple. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. Say it the way that you want it. Now, in the introduction, you probably heard that I'm also known as the NLP expert in this region. And you're probably wondering what NLP is. It stands for neuro linguistic programming. It's got many, many different definitions. It's been called the new art and science of getting what you want, fitness for the mind, and then, of course, there's my definition. I like to call it simply the user manual for your mind. So let me ask, have any of you ever behaved in a way that's inappropriate? I know you have, and I want to hear all about it later. Have any of you ever been in a situation where you felt emotions come up and you thought, not now, not the right time for those kind of emotions? Or maybe you felt that you're not in the right state. So one of the things that NLP does is it helps us become aware of our patterns in thinking, in behavior, what we believe is possible or not, or what's important to us, and more importantly, how we feel from moment to moment. Because have any of you ever noticed that when you feel good about yourself, when you feel confident, motivated, powerful, you get a much better result than when you're feeling depressed, tired, or have had that bad hair day? Have you noticed that? So what this means, very simply, is when you feel good about yourself, you get a much better result than when you don't feel good about yourself. So if I could show you very quickly how to instantly feel confident, motivated, energized, powerful, would you be interested? Are you in? You up for that? Okay, now what I need to tell you right now is this is not a permanent fix. However, if you're going into that important meeting and you need a good dose of confidence, this technique will help. If you're about to do a powerful presentation and you need to feel a surge of energy, this technique will help. So, before I teach you, let me just ask a couple of questions. How many of you here work out at the gym regularly? How many of you have a regular fitness regime? Okay, quite a few of you, wonderful. How many of you think about going to the gym regularly? Yes, that's what I thought. Okay, so let me address this question to the people who did put up their hands and do go to the gym on a regular basis. So this gentleman here, and there was a couple of people over there. I want you just to consider whether you go to the gym in the mornings or the evenings. So if you go in the mornings, chances are you have to get up even earlier. And maybe you feel tired when you first get out of bed. If you go to the gym in the evening, chances are you've done a whole day at work. Again, you're tired, and yet you still go to the gym. What I want you to consider is, how do you feel after you've been to the gym? How do you feel after you've been to the gym? And if I was to go round and ask some of the people here who do go to the gym on a regular basis, I can guarantee that what they'd tell me is, yes, I was tired when I went, but afterwards I felt really focused, clear-headed, I had a lot more energy, I felt alive. Am I right? So, the rest of you are thinking, oh, does that mean the quickest way to feel good and confident and motivated is to go to the gym? That is one way. Is there a quicker way? Yes. So what our friends here who do go to the gym regularly have shown us and will tell us is, if you think about it, when you go to the gym, you move your body differently. And when you move your body differently, you feel differently. So you'd know if I was standing here like this, just from my physiology, you might guess that I was depressed. So you already know that your physiology affects how you feel. So you up to do a couple of experiments with me? Is that a yes? Do I need to do some audience training here? And the audience training is really simple. When I ask a question, you respond with enthusiasm. Is that okay? Good. So can I ask you all to stand up? Can I ask you all to stand up? Yeah, you've been sitting down a while this morning. So let's get you up and moving a bit. Now, this is the time when it's a little bit challenging for me to use a mic, and I'll do my best. So what I want you to do is just take your feet about hip distance apart. Some of you are very nervous now. You're worried in case I'm going to start doing jumping jacks or run back and forth along the stage or get you going up and down the stairs. It's a good idea, and that's not what I'm going to do. So I want you to have your feet about hip distance apart, and then what I want you to do is to lock your legs, your knees back so your legs are tense. Can you do that for me right now? Then what I want you to do is to hold in your tummy, hold in your gut. And for some of the guys there, I can see that there could be a six-pack in there somewhere. Somewhere. Okay, so hold, and then what I want you to do is to clench your fists. Ladies, tighten across your chest. So your body's tense, standing up nice and straight. I want you to look up. This is a difficult part. I want you to smile. You know, one of those ones with teeth. So your body's tense, you're looking up, you're smiling, and what I want you to do is to shout out loud, success, success, success. Come on, success, 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 success. Good, good. Oh, you look good. They're getting some great pictures here. Now, that was part one. This is part two. So part two, stand again with your feet hip distance apart. Lock your knees back so your legs are tense. Clench your fists. Find your six-pack. Suck in your belly. Lift your chest. Okay, so arms down by your side. You're looking up. You're smiling. All right, you know, one of those big grins. Come on, one of those big grins. Let's see some teeth. Good, hopefully your own. So you're looking up, you're smiling. Now this time, you're still going to go success, success, success really loudly, except you're going to shout loudly inside your head so nobody else can hear. So here we go. Feet hip distance apart, your body's tense, you're looking up, you're smiling inside your head to yourself loudly. You're going success, success, success. Keep doing that, and what I want you to do is to try and get depressed. Try and get depressed. Okay? And you're laughing. Some of you are laughing because this is not the physiology of depression. So you can relax and stay standing just for a moment. So you can relax and hey, you can stay smiling. Let me explain. I did a couple of different things there. First of all, I did a massive shift in your physiology. I asked you to tense your whole body. Then the other thing I did was I asked you to look up. Have you ever noticed when people are depressed, they look down to get in touch with their feelings? So I asked you to look up because in NLP, we know when you look up, this is the visual area. Then I asked you to smile. Did you know that when you smile, it actually tells your brain that something good is about to happen? It's on the alert. And then the final thing I did was I asked you to repeat the mantra in your mind, success, 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 which meant that we jammed your oh no voice. You couldn't get a negative voice in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I am not suggesting that next time you go to an important meeting, you stand outside the door, body tense, looking up, smiling, going, success, 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 and then you walk in, because they may look at you strangely, and you may get marched off to the mental institute. But what I am suggesting is just a subtle shift in your physiology creates a massive change in how you feel. So right now, I'm going to ask you to sit down. And as you take a seat, I want you to sit the way you'd be sitting if you were totally confident, motivated, powerful, truly engaged in this session. All right? So sit down and sit the way you'd be sitting if you were confident, motivated, energized, totally powerful and engaged in this session. And then stay that way for the rest of the day. Yeah, good, huh? So look, I've given you two very, very quick and simple keys to success in terms of thinking differently. The first is very simple. Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. So say it the way that you want it. The second key, again, very simple. If you need to instantly feel confident, motivated, energized, just sit or stand the way you'd be standing if you were confident, motivated, energized. It'll get you out of a jam. And those two keys to success are exactly what I used. I stood the way I'd be standing if I was confident, motivated, energized, and powerful. I changed the voice inside my head. And I took that fluffy pair of socks and I walked up to the homeless man and I gave them to him. He looked up at me and he said, "Thank you, my dear. That's very kind of you." And you know, I've never forgotten that moment, the gift of giving and the gift of gratitude. So as I leave you to enjoy the rest of the day, what I'd say is if you truly want to be successful and think differently, if you truly want to be your own leader, it's very simple. Look within. Because you can change your mind and keep the change. My name's Carol Talbot. It's been a pleasure to meet you all this morning. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.